Today on True Crime Hub, we explore a story so terrifying, it led to a 1976 and 2014 movie. The movie, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, is based on the murder spree in the small town of Texarkana in 1946. The Texarkana Moonlight Murders, a term coined by the news media. It consisted of a series of unsolved murders and other violent crimes committed in and around Texarkana in the spring of 1946. These murders were committed by an unidentified serial killer known as the Phantom Killer or Phantom Slayer. The killer is credited with attacking 8 people within 10 weeks, 5 of whom were killed. The attacks happened on weekends between February 22, 1946, and May 3, 1946. The first attack, at around 11:45 p.m. on Friday, February 22, 1946, Jimmy Hollis, age 25, and his girlfriend, Mary Jean Larry, age 19, parked on a secluded road known as a lover's lane after having seen a movie together. The area was approximately 50 feet 15 meters off Robinson Road on an unpaved street, about 100 yards from the last row of city homes. Around 10 minutes later, at 11:55 p.m., a man wearing a white cloth mask which resembled a pillowcase with eye holes cut out appeared at Hollis's driver's side door, and shone a flashlight in the window. Unsure if it was a prank, Hollis told him he had the wrong person, to which the man responded, "I don't want to kill you, fellow, so do what I say." Both Hollis and Larry were ordered out the driver's side door, and the man ordered Hollis to take off his goddamn britches. After he complied, the man struck him in the head twice with a pistol. Larry later told investigators that the noise was so loud she had initially thought Hollis had been shot, when it had actually been his skull fracturing. Thinking the assailant wanted to rob them, Larry showed him Hollis's wallet to prove he had no money, after which she was struck with a blunt object. The assailant ordered her to stand, and when she did, told her to run. Initially, she tried to flee towards a ditch. Larry spotted an old car parked off the road, but unfortunately it was empty. By this time, the attacker caught up to Larry. He knocked her down and sexually assaulting her with the barrel of his gun. After the assault, Larry fled on foot, running a half-mile to a nearby house. She attempted to call for a car passing by the residence. Much to her fear, she was ignored by the car. Larry was able to awaken the residents of the house and phone the police. Meanwhile, Hollis had regained consciousness and managed to flag down a passerby on Richmond Road. The motorist left Hollis at the scene and drove to a nearby funeral home where he was able to call the police. Within 30 minutes, Bowie County Sheriff W.H. Bill Presley and 3 other officers arrived at the scene of the attack, but the assailant had already left. They found Hollis' pants 100 yards away from the parked car. Law enforcement repeatedly challenged Larry's account. They believed that she and Hollis knew the identity of their attacker and were covering for him. The first double murder. Richard L. Griffin, age 29, and his girlfriend of 6 weeks, Polly Ann Moore, age 17, were found dead in Griffin's 1941 Oldsmobile sedan on Sunday, March 24, 1946 between 8:30 and 9 a.m. by a passing motorist. The motorist saw the parked car on a lover's lane near a railroad. The motorist at first thought that both were asleep. Griffin was found between the front seats on his knees with his head resting on his crossed hands and his pockets turned inside out. Moore was found sprawled face down in the back seat. There is evidence, however, to suggest she was killed on a blanket outside the car and then placed there. Griffin had been shot twice while still in the car, both had been shot once in the back of the head, and both were fully clothed. A blood-soaked patch of earth near the car suggested to police that they had been killed outside the car and placed back inside. Congealed blood was found covering the running board, and it had flowed through the bottom of the car door. A .32 cartridge shell was also found, possibly shot from a Colt pistol wrapped in a blanket. No reports indicated that either Griffin or Moore were examined by a pathologist. And local rumor believed that a sexual assault had also occurred, but modern reports refute this claim. In response to the murders, police launched a citywide investigation along with the Texas and Arkansas City Police. By March 27, local police had interviewed around 50 to 60 witnesses. By March 30, police had posted a $500 reward in an effort to gain any new information on the Griffin and Moore case. However, the rewards yielded no fruitful clues or suspects, instead producing over 100 false leads. The second double murder. On the evening of Saturday, April 13, Betty Jo Booker, age 15, was playing her alto saxophone in her regular weekly gig with her band. Around 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning, April 14, her friend Paul Martin, age 17, arrived to pick her up from the performance. This was the last time the pair were seen alive. Martin's body was found at around 6:30 a.m. that morning. Blood was found further down on the other side of the road by a fence. He had been shot 4 times, once through the nose, through the left side of his torso from behind, a third time in the right hand, and finally through the back of the neck. Booker's body was not found until approximately 11:30 a.m., almost 2 miles (3.2 kilometers) away from Martin's body. Her body was lying on its back, fully clothed, with the right hand in the pocket of the buttoned overcoat. Booker had been shot twice, once through the chest and once in the face. The weapon used was the same as in the first double murder, a .32 automatic Colt pistol. Martin's 1946 Ford Club Coupe was found about 3 miles (4.8 kilometers) away from Booker's body and 1.55 miles (2.49 kilometers) away from his body. It was parked outside Spring Lake Park with the keys still in it. The authorities were not sure who was shot first. Sheriff Presley and Texas Ranger Captain Manuel Gonzalez said that examinations of the bodies indicated that they both had put up a large struggle. Law enforcement was unable to locate Booker's saxophone at the crime scene. The saxophone was eventually discovered around 6 months later, on October 24, still in its black imitation leather case, in underbrush near where Booker's body had been found. A reward fund exceeding $1,700 was accrued for information leading to the persons responsible in the Griffin Moore and Martin Booker murders. Rumors circulated throughout the area, with one rumor suggesting a local minister had turned in his own son as a suspect in the Martin Booker murders. On April 18, Captain Gonzalez issued a statement to the public during a press conference verifying that the murderer had not been caught and that the rumors circulating among the public and in the newspapers were a hindrance to the investigation and harmful to innocent persons. The final crimes. On Friday, May 3, sometime before 9 p.m., Virgil Starks, age 37, was in his modest ranch-style house almost 10 miles (16 kilometers) northeast of Texarkana. He turned on his favorite weekly radio show, and his wife, Katie, age 36, gave him a heating pad for his sore back. He sat in his armchair in the sitting room, which was just off of the kitchen and the bedroom. While Katie was in her bedroom lying on the bed in her nightgown, she heard something from the backyard and asked Virgil to turn down the radio. Seconds later, while Virgil was reading the May 3 edition of the Texarkana Gazette, 2 shots were fired into the back of his head from a closed double window 3 feet (0.91 meters) away. Katie did not hear the gunshots. Instead, she heard what sounded like the breaking of glass. She thought Virgil had dropped something and went to see what happened. As she entered the doorway to the living room, she saw Virgil stand up and then suddenly slump back into his chair. When she realized he was dead, she ran to the phone to call the police. She rang the wall crank phone 2 times before being shot twice in the face from the same window. One bullet entered her right cheek and exited behind her left ear. The other went in just below her lip, breaking her jaw and splintering out several teeth before lodging under her tongue. She dropped to her knees but soon managed to get back on her feet. She ran to get a pistol from the living room, but was blinded by her own blood. She heard the killer tearing loose the rusted screen wire on the back porch. Meanwhile, the killer ran to the back of the house and made his way up the steps and into the side screen porch through the back screen door. In an attempt to escape, she turned around and ran through the dining room, through the bedroom, down a hallway, through another bedroom, and then into the living room and out the front door. She left behind a virtual river of blood and teeth throughout the house and across the street. Barefoot and still in her blood-soaked nightgown, she ran across the street to her sister and brother-in-law's house. Because no one was home, she ran 50 yards more to the next neighbor's home. When the neighbor answered, she gasped, "Virgil's dead," then collapsed. The murders sent the town of Texarkana into a state of panic throughout the summer. At dusk, city inhabitants heavily armed themselves and locked themselves indoors while police patrolled streets and neighborhoods. Although many businesses lost customers at night due to the fear of being the next victim, stores sold out of guns, ammunition, locks, and many other protective devices. Several rumors began to spread, including that the killer was caught, or that a third and even fourth double homicide had been committed. These rumors quickly spread due to the sheer fear everyone was feeling. Most of the town hid in fear inside their houses or hotels, sometimes even leaving town. Some youths took matters into their own hands by trying to bait the phantom. Their goal was to lure out the killer and find justice of their own. The disappearance of Virginia Carpenter, a cold case in Texarkana in 1948, has been speculated as the work of the phantom. For 10 weeks, the town lived in complete and total fear, waiting for the next attack. However, after 3 months without phantom attacks, the Texas Rangers slowly and quietly left town. The hopes were to keep the phantom from believing he was safe to strike again. The prime suspect in the case was Yul Swinney. He was a career petty criminal who was linked to the murders primarily by statements from his wife as well as additional circumstantial evidence. After Swinney's wife refused to testify against him, prosecutors decided against pursuing the case and he was never convicted of murder. 2 of the lead investigators in the case, however, believed him to be guilty. The 2014 book, The Phantom Killer, Unlocking the Mystery of the Texarkana Serial Murders by Dr. James Presley also points to Swinney as the main culprit of all 5 attacks. Presley believed that there was enough evidence to close the case. To this day, there has been no arrest made in the case.